Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I'm G&G and this is episode 86 of the University Challenge, and today we are looking back at a very short pre-season. The players only had a month off really, and they're actually back training 2 weeks. We broke up at the start of December. It's now the 17th of January in game and we are a day away from our first competitive game of the season, so they've been back training about 2 weeks now. So really short pre-season, and it's having a little bit of an effect with some injuries, but I can get into that in the next episode with the team news. Today we are looking back at what we've done in the pre-season, and it's been a busy enough one. The first thing you might spot here on the screen is that we have a new captain. Kinate, our captain, our goalkeeper, left on a free at the end of the season, and our new captain is Will Andy Yappin. He takes over as captain in his second year here at UCD. Nico Jones stays on as the vice captain. So with that said, let's get into a look at some of our transfer action during this pre-season. So one thing to note with our transfer action is that we had to do a lot of it in a short space of time. So the transfers actually are included in last season because the season hadn't ticked over in the game. So because we had to get them done early to get players in for pre-season. So as you can see, there's a bit of a mix match, easy for me to say, of transfers here. So it actually starts here with our first signing, which is Edoardo Sottini, a Italian centre back who's come in on a free transfer. And he gives us another option at centre back. He's on a decent enough wage, 3,200. He will play a lot of games, and if we compare him to, we probably compare him to our starting centre back, which would be Lamb. If I can find him, there he is, Angelo Lamb. And if you compare the two, look at that. Sottini is probably slightly better in some areas, and then Lamb has the advantage in speed, slightly ahead on defending. But if you look at Sottini, he has an advantage in physical, in vision, attacking, technical, mental. So he has an advantage in some areas. If you look at the attributes, yeah, he's a great player to have in on a free, and really gives us another option at centre back alongside Lamb, Jones, Ledwich, Harvey O'Brien, Andy Yappin can play there. So we have lots of options now at centre back. And as I said, he's come in on a free, and I've made a mess of that. He's come in on a free, so no fee, decent enough wage. So that's a good deal, I think, and look forward to seeing him in action this season. Next signing was Liam Ravenhill from Linfield for 375,000. He comes in as another midfield option. Really, we were looking for someone to replace Dimitri, who left, and he comes in. And if we compare him with, I guess we'll compare him with Barres, who's the other midfielder, star midfielder for us. We get Barres, he's up here at the top, and go to you can see. Yeah, Barres is definitely the better player, but Ravenhill at only 20, he's 25, decent enough player already. He should develop a bit more with us, and we got him reasonably cheap on a decent wage, and he's a not player, as he's in on a squad player. Don't have to play him all the time, and it gives us options in that midfield. As I said, with Dimitri leaving mid-season, we were down a centre midfielder, so it gives us a chance to put Ravenhill in there. He can play as defensive midfielder either, and it could be a chance at times of the season to push Farizai forward onto the wing. So it gives us that option in midfield and a bit more freedom in our choice. Next up, we signed another striker. I was hoping to sign another striker, and we got this man in, Will Lancashire, in from Everton. We bought him from Everton, and we just look at his career. He actually started off at Arsenal, went to Sheffield United, and then Tottenham paid 1.1 million for him. He then went to Everton for 425,000. Never played for Everton, went out on loan a couple of times. We've signed him for 150,000. So this is a man that Tottenham once played. I've been a mess there. Where is he? Will Lancashire. This man Tottenham once played over £1 million for. He's in on a big enough wage, 4.3 a week. He's probably our top earner. I'm pretty sure he's our top earner now. But if we compare him with Rhys Evans, he gives us a real option now alongside Rhys Evans. You can see, look at that, they're very similar. Will probably ahead on physical, bit better on attacking. They're the exact same technically, same vision more or less. Rhys Evans just ahead, same speed, and just Rhys Evans better in the air than Will. So it gives us a different option in games. It means we can rotate up front a lot more. When Reece got injured last season, he got that bad injury, he was out for a while. It left us a bit short because we only had Tommy Lonergan and Cian Murphy, and that was a bit of a drop off. But now we have a real second option, and those two will now be battling for game time, and it should mean both players. A bit of competition is never a bad thing in a squad. Next up is a loan signing, Gary Shaw, who is a defensive midfielder but can play in midfield for the forward too. Tried to sign Gary actually from Hull, but they wanted £5 million for him, and he's just not there yet, I don't think. But we got him in on loan for the season. We are paying his wages of 2.7 thousand for the season. But if we compare him to who we've been up against for that defensive midfield position, it's probably Greg Sloggett, with Barra's going to play for the forward more often. So if we just find Greg Sloggett here, we will see, there he is, Greg, and compare. You can see here Gary is already probably better player than Greg. Greg is on a bit of a decline because of age. He's 31 now, starting to see a decline. Gary, a good young player, developing. See, better technical, better attacking, better vision, better speed, better physical, better mental. So yeah, Gary Shaw in on loan for the season. Great player to have and a great addition for that midfield role. We'll come up talking a minute about his competition in that role. Next, we needed a backup goalkeeper, and we went to Everton again and signed Felix Romeo. Who's Romano? Felix Romeo, an Australian goalkeeper who's come in. We paid 150,000 for Felix. He started off at Everton and never played for Everton, so he's come to us. He's in at the moment as this transfer is going to get a bit annoying. He's come in as the backup at the moment for Pickernell. We didn't have a backup with Konate even. As you can see, Pickernell is already comfortably the better goalkeeper, but you have to remember Romeo, 21, hasn't played much, so hopefully he will develop. He's a good solid backup for the price and for the wage, and now we have two good young keepers, I think, because Pickernell's only 23, Romeo 21, so we have good options there. I'm able to rotate a bit in the goal position throughout the season. And the next signing we made was Sebastian Masson from Valencia, who of course Dimitri went to. We paid 200,000 for him. He's a defensive midfielder who will probably take over that role when Gary Shaw goes back from the loan spell. So we've actually loaned him out for the season to Cork City to get him some first team action. He only played for the reserve team in France, so he hasn't played much first team action. I think by loaning him to Cork, it'll help him to get settled in to Ireland as well and playing regular football. Just compare him to Gregor Siklic for a second, and this is why I decided to sign him, is because I will get to it in a moment. Siklic will be leaving at the end of this season, so he's a good replacement for that position of a young defensive midfielder. Lot development ahead for him, and hopefully he can take that role when he comes back from his season-long loan at Cork City. We signed him for 200,000. He's gone out to Cork on loan, and hopefully he will develop this season and be ready to go next season in that position as defensive midfielder. Just on players who left, no one really unexpected. Alex Dunn left on a free at the end of the season, that was expected. Gareth Ledwidge went to Longford, that was already agreed. Young left back Callum Taylor went to Glentoran. Konate went to Paris FC, that was already agreed. A couple of young players left. The young striker we signed, Sefner, never really played for us, gone for 68,000. Good deal for us. Odalo, who occasionally played for us, gone back to Italy to Benevento on a free. And then if we look at transfers that have counted in this season, Masson is there, he's gone on loan to Cork. Daniel Steedman has left, he's gone to Linfield for 145,000. Didn't really have a place for him for the season, and just decided to cash in on him. He was a good player for us, played 78 times, 2 goals, lots of good performances for us. It definitely was a good signing when we brought him in, and happy enough to let him go. Good money for him, and freed up a place in the squad. As did Cian Murphy, he's gone to Bohemians for 91,000. Cian was would have been 4th choice striker this season, behind Rhys Evans, Lancashire, Tommy Lonergan, and when the offer came in from Bohemians, just decided had to take it. 91,000. It is less, I believe, Then we paid 95,000. Sold him a few years later for 91,000. It's not the worst deal in the world, and it saves having an unhappy player in the squad. And as I was saying, Gregor Siklic is leaving at the end of the season. He is going to Gothenburg for 550,000. They have loaned him back for this season, which is why I was happy to let Masson go to Cork City on loan. Over $500,000 for Siklic, who has barely started for us. He plays occasionally. Was hoping he'd develop more. It just wasn't happening. I didn't see the development, so I decided to sell him. I decided to sell him and cash in on him now at 21, when that potential is still there and clubs will be still interested in buying him. And then we had the immediate replacement in Masson for next season. Gary Shaw coming in too. He's not going to play much this season, but it's good to have him here as a squad player. We're not paying any wages on him now, and that means I freed up some wages, and he shouldn't be unhappy about not playing. So that is the transfer action for this season. Just take a quick look now at the squad. I think we have lots of options now in midfield, lots of options in defence, plenty of options up front. If we're weak anywhere, I think it might be on the wings, because starting to see a slight decline in Conor McGlennon. Dennis Nolan, his backup, has lots of potential, and we may need to play him a lot more this season to try and get that potential to kick in. On the other wing, we have Malonga and Casey McAteer. Malonga has a lot of potential, played a lot of good games last season, so he's going to be starting this season. We also have Freeseye, who can go there if needed, and we have Casey McAteer as the backup. So yeah, Sean Brennan is also back from his loan spell. He signed a new contract, so he's actually staying around for another while. Yeah, really good, happy squad, I hope. In terms of the numbers in the squad, just have a look. I think it's about 28. Just check it. 29 players in the squad this season, and looking at it, it's a squad with lots of options. We're going to have to rotate because of Europe later in the season, so good to have all those options in the squad. And we have built, I think, a strong squad for retaining the title. And on that, just to go to the season preview for this season, and for the first time since we've arrived here, we are the favourites to win the title at 4-5. Big change from that first season when we were 700 to 1 to win the title, and we managed to do it. We are actually favourites to win the title this season ahead of Derry. Derry, interestingly enough, have a new manager, and he's one who's very familiar to us. John Russell was actually our reserve team coach, and he has jumped ship to go to Derry to manage our main rivals. So interesting to see how he gets on. So it a little bit more rivalry between the two clubs developing, but they are the two teams now tipped for the title. The next team, Shamrock Rovers, is 25 to 1 to win the title, so it looks like it's between us and Derry again. And a quick look at the media prediction, they're predicting us to be first. So yeah, we are heavily tipped to win the title this season, so a different sort of pressure on us as we go for 3 in a row. Just in terms of our pre-season schedule, we've just played 2 friendlies. We played Ghent in a friendly 1-2-1, and we played a reserve team in a friendly. This is just about getting players match fit ahead of the Champions League. 1-7-2, a couple of goals in the game that were important. One was that Will Lancashire managed to get his first goal for us, but hopefully many more to come. So that is the pre-season caught up on. We are now ready to get back into competitive action with a game away against Chelsea, facing them at, I believe they're still at Stamford Bridge. Am I right? Yeah, they're still at Stamford Bridge. So that will be in the next episode when we return to action in the Champions League. If you did enjoy today's episode and the pre-season review and looking ahead to the season, please drop it a like. It really helps the video to be seen more and YouTube to look more favourably on this channel. If you want to follow this channel, don't forget to subscribe to it. Videos are posted Monday to Friday, 6 PM Irish time, and if you subscribe, you won't miss a thing. There is a playlist on the channel if you want to catch up on anything, and it does appear on the screen at the end of this video. So until the next episode when we're back in action in the Champions League, please take it easy.